conference, Master Dr. Innocent Esuma, the mayor of ARO. His Eminence, Dr. Arochukwu, and every other protocol observed. When we speak about the Arochukwu Kingdom, we normally refer to the geographical homeland. So when we refer to the kingdom, you are talking about the geographical homeland located where we are right now, which is the coordinate 5.23 and 7.55 latitude in eastern part of Nigeria. And the nearly 120 Arochukwu communities within Nigeria. At the last count, we had 120 communities and counting. The Arochukwu people have historically been dispersed across length and breadth of Nigeria, but with heavier concentration in the eastern part of the country. Despite these challenges of massive dispersion, they have maintained a strong sense of unity through shared ancestry, shared traditions, and collective memory. My paper will explore how Arochukwu communities, despite being scattered and often politically divided, have sustained a remarkable economic and leadership essence. By examining historical resilience, cultural cohesion, and modern networks, this paper highlights the mechanism that have allowed the Arochukwu communities to thrive economically and exert leadership influence globally. As you settle down, I will introduce this paper by mentioning that the Arochukwu Kingdom has spanned over 4 centuries. And it has resulted in Arochukwu people settling in diverse areas of Igbo land, with communities in areas like Ogun State and Kogi State. In Igbo land, political determinations from creation of states have further fragmented the Arochukwu loyalties, resulting in Arochukwu people in Abia, Imo, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, Rivers, and Delta states. This fragmentation notwithstanding, a unifying thread of common ancestry, cultural identity, and historical experience has enabled the Arochukwu people to sustain economic success and leadership roles across societies. This paper will attempt to investigate the factors contributing to this phenomenon, including cultural values, education, and regional networks. The Arochukwu economic success is deeply rooted in historical circumstances. With the unavoidable end of the transatlantic slave trade, the Arochukwu people turned into finance, trade and crafts, developing unique skills in commerce. The rise of merchant networks, trading of palm produce and crafts across Igbo land leveraged on the vast slave trade networks established by the Arochukwu people in the 18th and 19th centuries. Influential Arochukwu traders like Omenuko and Okorocha were instrumental in expanding the kingdom trade dominance by developing strong economic relations with neighboring communities, including the Bibios and the Effiks, who provided a coastal pathway for exporting goods. Omenuko was renowned for his business acumen, using diplomacy and trade relations to strengthen ties across Igbo territories, ensuring the economic dominance of the Arochukwu people. I'm sure not too many of you knew that Omenuko was an ARO man. Despite conflicts and persecution by numerous communities, sometimes resulting in expulsion, like we have in some communities like Oburo and all those places, and loss of properties, like most of us lost, including my people that lived in Igwere. What is what happened why his people lost properties in Igwere land? The Arochukwu diaspora rebuilt themselves repeatedly. The ability to adapt to new environments while preserving cultural identity contributed to the economic resilience of the Arochukwu people. In modern times, the Arochukwu people have excelled in entrepreneurship, academia, and technology. With its proportionate representation in industries like finance, medicine, science, and so on. We can give numerous examples of such economic excesses. For instance, in Arochukwu, we have people like Dr. Innocent Ezuma, the mayor of Arochukwu, that is with us today. We have can easily identify people like Chief Engineer Linus Okeke or Chiaga Nizogo. We can also identify people like Chief Saiba Bishop Okoko, who is the major player in the oil and gas industry. Chief Sapayos Okoko is based of Nizogo, who is a successful entrepreneur in transportation and logistics. Chief Sadan Okeke, Dano Group, who is also a business magnate with investments in oil and gas. Chief Sam Gebo Okoye, Utudowa of Ndizo, who is a prominent industrialist with interest in manufacturing and trade, and so many others, which short people like this will not allow me to mention. In the economic sphere, we also have examples of the spirit of enterprise in other diaspora communities. For example, in Arochukwu, we have Chief Emokoko Ezajale, who is a leading industrialist with investment in manufacturing, agriculture, and real estate. Salani Usumanefo Ochiagajale, who is a major importer and exporter of automotive trade and hospitality. Chief Godwin Okeke Dikajale, who is a successful entrepreneur in the oil and gas sector, and so many others. Within the Arochukwu homeland, there is also a prevalence of the spirit of great enterprise. His Eminence, Engineer Dr. Ebereka Noji, who is a leading entrepreneur in the oil and gas sector and presently the CEO of Nesta Energies Limited, leads the back. Notably others are ARO, Dr. Alex Oti, who is a successful entrepreneur with investments in banking, property, petroleum industries, and presently the executive governor of Abia State. Uguaro, Mazio Vasalos, Chubas, who is a leading player in the oil and gas market with numerous distribution outlets in the southeast Nigeria. Uguaro Victor Ekogoroko, who is the managing director of Etio, a leading upstream and oil and gas player in Nigeria. Uguaro Anthony, who is the CEO of CIVIC Physical and a leading seismic and geological survey enterprise in Nigeria. Uguaro Samoa, OFR, who was the founder and former CEO of Nime Pharmaceuticals, past president of the Pharmaceutical Association of Nigeria, and former presidential candidate for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Many established businesses in the homeland, exemplified by entrepreneurs like Uguaro, like Arochukwu diaspora women have also shown excellence in the economic area, notably women, both Ajade and Indizo, which may include Chief Mrs. Norma Wafo, Odozi Akundizo, who is a successful entrepreneur in fashion. Chief Mrs. Ngozi Okeke, who is a leading figure in beauty and cosmetic industry. Chief Mrs. Chinwemba Nevo Adajade, who is a successful entrepreneur in food processing and pharmaceuticals. And to come home here, Adugu Barrister Carol Dike, who is a successful agro-processing and distribution business. Adugu Abioko Okoronkwo in the leadership of law enforcement, and Adugu Priscilla Nana in hospitality. There are many more individuals who have made significant contributions in building the economic essence of the Arochukwu Kingdom. I've just mentioned a few. They are too numerous to mention. Many of these men and women mentioned above have also leveraged on the economic power to become major influencers in political power. Historically, the Arochukwu Kingdom has produced political juggernauts. The kingdom was placed in the national political limelight by the likes of Mazike Badiwe, who had numerous ministerial positions and was the first and so far the only ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary. Nobody else has answered that name in this country. Chief Mbono Jike, a pioneer nationalist and businessman who was also the first Minister of Commerce and Industry in the 1950s. He was famous for his economic nationalism with his famous policy of boycott the boycottables. Barrister Dr. Wakambo Okoro, SAN, who was the first generation lawyer in Nigeria and was made a son at the same time Chief Awolowo was made a son. We will also remember people like Chief Okoro Yoti, who was a member of the Eastern Region House of Assembly in the 1950s and advocated for the infrastructural development of Arochukwu in the First Republic. In the recent past, the ARO diaspora produced people like Professor Humphrey Mosu, who was arguably the father of Nigerian modern democracy. Chief Honorable Uche Onyagocha Okezuondiso, who was former member of the House of Representatives and former secretary to the Imo State Government. Chief Honorable Barrister Kingsley Ononuju Ezudo of Ndiso, who was Commissioner for Industry in Imo State and a business leader with political influence. And Honorable Tony Nwolo, former member House of Representatives, who sponsored the historic bill of Not Too Young to Run. Without doubt, wherever the ARO man or woman resides, you can clearly see evidence of economic and political relevance and essence, wherever it is. After I have read all these names from this law, Ajale and Homeland, you will know. So without doubt, wherever the other man is, there's evidence that he will show political and economic power. The question I know you want me all to answer is why? Why is it like that? Why is it everywhere other man is always overperforming? So a key driver of the Arochukwu economic and leadership success is the emphasis on education, which has been a cornerstone of development for the Arochukwu people. It has served as a catalyst for economic empowerment, political influence, cultural preservation, and social cohesion. The Arochukwu people embraced Western education early. The first secondary school east of the Niger was opened in Calabar. This school produced the first indigenous entrepreneurs and professionals. In 1926, Arochukwu of blessed memory established the second secondary school east of the Niger, Agri Memorial College, which helped educate the next generation of Arochukwu people. At the turn of the 20th century, the Arochukwu man prioritized literacy, having come out of a major conflict with the white man in 1901 and 1902. It is not a coincidence that when some of us were growing up, the most popular profession in Arochukwu was to be a teacher, because Arochukwu prioritized development of their kids and kin. The enviable profession at the end of Arochukwu British War was teaching, and many Arochukwu sons went to Oporto. People like my father and some others went to Oporto to become a teacher. So, the main thrust of it is that education was a key driver to what made Arochukwu what it is today. So I'm going to go straight to how we can sustain this. How do we sustain the Arochukwu economic and leadership essence? First, I'll make bold to propose a 4-point sustainability blueprint. First, we need to digitize the ARO trade legacy. The ARO Kingdom economic heavyweights should get together and convert the ancestral trade wisdom of the ARO man into e-commerce hubs. For instance, the Kingdom economic progress can be seen in pharmaceuticals and oil and gas. We can create blockchain supply chain for such ARO-dominated sectors. We could also partner with Igbo tech experts in Silicon Valley in the USA and London for startups such as launching Africa's first AI-powered spare parts marketplace in Arochukwu zone, Auto Costa. The second is the next generation political machinery. We must create an Arochukwu Kingdom leadership pipeline. Who are the politicians that are going to take over from those that are in play today? We must be intentional about replacing the successful politicians from Ndizo, Ajale, ARO Homeland, and other diaspora communities. I make bold to suggest that ARO Leadership Pipeline Program sponsor a number of brilliant graduates annually selected from all the diaspora communities to accredited leadership development programs either in Nigeria, Europe, or the United States. We could also create a political action program that will sensitize Arochukwu Kingdom youth from the youth wing of all political parties, APC, PDP, Labour Party, ABGA, to prepare for seeking elective office now and in future. The goal will be to produce Nigeria first ARO president by the year 2043. And I recommend that we use the Alex O.T. governance model as a template. So I know an ARO man tried in the last election, but if we're intentional about it, by the year 2043, an ARO man, no matter from where, Ajale, this one, ARO homeland, will produce somebody sitting in Aso. The time to take the ARO project serious is now. There is need for partnership from Nollywood to establish the ARO Film City that will monetize the lure of Ukino Babi and also tell the unique cultural story of Arochukwu. We cannot continue to allow others to tell our stories. The Kingdom of Arochukwu has unique artifacts from our long history of arts and crafts. I will also suggest that we create an ARO Royal Mint, which will be an NFT, what they call non-fungible token, or ARO artifacts. We can take the ARO and make it an NFT, and it will sell well. For those of you that are in crypto, you know what I'm talking about. The third will be to protect ARO communal land and intellectual property throughout the kingdom, and the fourth will be ARO Kingdom Media Corps that will control the narrative via podcasts and documentaries. Because basically we allow other people to tell our stories, and therefore we need to tell our own stories. In conclusion, we can all agree that Arochukwu Kingdom has been doing well, producing economic giants and political juggernauts. We all also realize that there is a lot of work to be done to sustain the progress made by present and past sons and daughters of the Arochukwu Kingdom. My submission is that we have to be intentional about the future, and God willing, we should expect the collective gross domestic product of the kingdom will increase by 4 times in the next 5 years. We should also expect a significant political impact, with at least 30% of Southeast political seats being under ARO influence. 30% of all political seats in the Southeast should be under ARO influence in the next couple of years. Thank you for listening.
Can you please put your hands together for Mazi Chimadike, brilliantly delivering his speech, his papers today. The most interesting thing about what he has done is that he was able to beat the 20 minutes interval given to every participant. Thank you very much. And we want to believe that those who are, people are taking records, because when you are called upon to be able to assemble this, you have to do that very smartly. Mazi, Professor Kori Choma is going to introduce the next person. Mazi is in charge of this session. Mazi Professor Kori Choma is going to take charge of this. Mazi Dr. Ejike.
All right, we go Achokariji, Ohera, Nabata, all the people from ARO, Ihiala, Igwe, Okeke, the First Minister for Education, Minister of Education, on our here. So we use this opportunity to welcome you. Say may God bless you for coming. God bless you. All the ARO here. So he's the one to take on ARO Kingdom and each diaspora a shared vision. So before we still want to recognize the High Chief Okosisi Habo, one of them from ARO Ajatake. Good God, Chief.
Good morning, Your Eminence, it is our night of ARO Kingdom. I will respectfully rest on all existing protocol. My name is Ejike Wankwo Ugwaru. I'm from Ajali, AROS, the headquarters of Orumba North Local Government of Anambra State. My paper today is ARO Kingdom and its diaspora, a shared vision. And I'm concentrating on the case of Ajali Ezeshi in Orumba North Local Government area of Anambra State and the imperatives of peaceful succession. Ajali, a prominent ARO diaspora community in Orumba North Local Government area of Anambra State, was founded in the mid-17th century by Mazi Eni Agwete. It rose from a small trading post to a strategic settlement under the leadership of his son, Ojo Tieni, otherwise Ojo Ozoma, named after his mother, who became Ajali's first exit. The community's leadership followed primogeniture principle, whereby rulership passes from father to first son. This hereditary succession system ensured continuity, stability, and prosperity for centuries. The lineage of rulers from Eze first to Eze the sixth of Ajali includes Ojotieni, Eze the first and founder, Otioji, Eze the second, first son of Ojotieni, Nwafo Otioji, Eze the third, first son of Eze the second, Anije Otioji, Eze the fourth, uncle, interim ruler during his youth. Nwosu Nwafo Otioji, Eze the fifth, resumed rifle line, ruled for 60 good years, from 1918 to 1978. Obinani Callistus Nwosu Nwafo Otioji, Eze the sixth, ruled from 1978 to 2005. Led Ajali to become the administrative center of Orumba North local government area of Anambra State. For over 250 years, this tradition ensured leadership, legitimacy, peace, and cultural cohesion. However, modern political influences and democratic ideas have triggered demand to replace the ancestral system with rotational succession. The current succession crisis, rotation versus tradition. The recent chieftaincy crisis in Ajali reflects broader tensions between traditional authority and democratic aspiration. Factors mainly from non-ruling kindred families, notably the 2.5 kindred Ajali families, are challenging the Ojoti Umoti dynasty's right to exclusive succession. Their push for rotational rulership, often motivated by ideals of fairness and modern inclusivity, is perceived by traditionalists as a break from the community foundational values. The dispute has sparked competing town unions, Ajali Development Union, made up of 15.5 kindred families, versus the old Ajali Welfare Union, now reduced to 2.5 kindred families. Multiple court cases, including a recent High Court judgment, June 25, 2025, dismissing Mazi Augustine Nwangu's claim and affirming the authority of 15 families. Community polarization threatened Ajali's unity and its role within the ARO kingdom. Underlining this struggle is the growing diaspora home disconnect with modernized ARO populations, questioning hereditary monarchy in favor of participatory governance. The state's identity, governance, and development. The succession conflict in Ajali is not merely a power struggle. It impacts the core identity and future of the community. Key issues at stake: cultural preservation versus democratic evolution. Should Ajali prioritize its age-old primogeniture tradition historically ensured smooth leadership transition with minimal disputes. Community development under Eze the Sixth, Eze Callistus Mosu Maford, actually advanced significantly in infrastructure, employment, and administrative prominence. ARO diaspora unity. The crisis has implications for other ARO communities facing similar frictions between tradition and modernization. The Nzukaro framework, which was on April 16, 2005, a path to peace. In an effort to resolve the stalemate, Arochukwu worldwide proposed a hybrid solution, balancing tradition with inclusiveness. Their 5-point framework includes preservation of nature. Eze remains the exclusive right of Ojot, which is Umut family, preserving lineage integrity. Inclusion of other families, roles of other two major ARO families. Umojun Uti crowns the Eze. Presents the Eze staff of office. Eze in council structure, former governing body with the Eze, the traditional prime ministers from the two brother families, and representatives from all 15 kindred families. 15 kindred Ajali families across Ajali 4 villages. Then we have ceremonial and participatory governance. Other families play visible roles in key events, while traditional authority remains intact. Balanced representation. Shared ceremonial influence without eroding royal succession rights. This proposal has been praised for being culturally authentic, yet adaptable to evolving governance expectations. Recommendations for lasting peace. Building on Nzukaro's proposal, concurs with the 8th recommendation